Hey, what's up everyone? Adam here with brahwegotthis, and today I want to help a lot of players out that are playing ESO currently or are thinking about playing ESO this year and beyond. I want to show you and explain to you 5 things that are drastically different about ESO than World of Warcraft. I may eventually do a transition guide for every MMO, eventually, like, from Black Desert Online or Final Fantasy or Destiny, but that's only if you guys and gals want that. I just believe that WoW is probably the biggest MMO that players are coming from to try ESO, at least in my community. So I want to break down these 5 things to help that transition go a little smoother for when we take in former WoW players and make them feel at home. And if you have any questions about any of this or anything in general, you can always come by my stream, twitch.tv/brahwegotthis. Normally it's Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. The link is in the description, and you can check out our Discord below as well. The link is there. We have a huge community there that has a lot of welcoming players that helps all kinds of players out. Also, big shout out to all my patrons. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I do appreciate you. If you'd like to become a patron, make sure to check out the link below in the description. And lastly, check out our website at brahwegotthis.com. So I want to say this to start off. Before I get some comment down below, this video is not a video to bash World of Warcraft. This isn't a video to say ESO does everything perfect and better than WoW. This is simply a video to help former WoW players transition easier to ESO, okay? So now that we said that, we can begin. So number 5, combat is, in my opinion, very different. Now, I'm not here to say that ESO's in-game combat mechanics are more complicated than WoW's or vice versa, because they are both complicated in their own right. But the biggest thing that stuck out to me when playing through WoW is the combat seems more old school when it comes to MMOs. It's a very heavy cooldown based combat. So it's more focused around controlling and managing your cooldowns and chaining your skills together to where you activate a skill right after a cooldown ends, or you get the perfect timing for that, more than doing some of the things that ESO does, right? And I'm going to go into that here in a second. Plus with WoW, you can put like a million skills on your bar, right? There's just like so many possibilities with that. And for some players, they may like that, but for some other players, they might not. So where ESO is different in combat is ESO isn't really a heavy cooldown based combat. It's more free form. So like if you activate an AoE ability, it has a 15-second duration, right? Anytime during that 15-second duration, you can activate it again. Now, it might not be the most efficient to do that, but you can. So ESO does have like a global cooldown with its skills and light attacks technically. So like you can't just spam like a light attack and it's like instant, right? There is like a tiny bit of like a delay, right? You have some sort of cooldown between skills and light attacks. But in ESO, the way when you play DPS that you get more efficient is you light attack weave and you animation cancel. Okay, that is how you get more efficient in ESO at DPS. Like that's just how it is. Like that's how you can do more damage per second in a way. Now, some players are better at it than others. Some players aren't. But the other thing that is important with ESO is the light attack and heavy attack system is crucial in ESO, because light attacking and heavy attacking actually does a lot of damage throughout the whole fight. That's one thing. Light attacking and heavy attacking generates ultimate for you, which is another thing. And then heavy attacking restores resources depending on the weapon that you use. So it is a key essential part of combat for ESO. So between a skill, you want to be light attacking a lot of times. Like you want to go skill, light attack, skill, light attack, skill, light attack. Like you're not managing your cooldowns with skills, because your skills are basically all instant cast skills. There's only a number of skills in ESO that actually have a channel time or a cast time. Almost every skill in ESO has, an instant cast skill, and there's not really a cooldown attached to it. So if like I do like an instant cast skill in ESO, I can cast that literally like almost 1 second after I cast it again. There's not like a 4-second cooldown, right? And wow, there's a lot of skills that have cooldowns, right? And you can speed those up and you can make it faster with like items and the way you do your rotation, the way you build, right? All that stuff. But in ESO, it's literally like one after the other, right? So where the skill is involved in ESO is weaving, animation canceling, and doing everything as efficient and honestly as fast as you can. But in WoW, the difference is that you're managing your cooldowns for the most part. You're trying to have the perfect timing between your cooldowns. You're trying to have the perfect timing with chaining your skills. And another thing with ESO is you only have 5 skills on the front bar, 5 skills on the back bar, and 1 ultimate on each bar. That is different because you're not able to have 10 plus skills on a bar, okay? So some players struggle with that as well. And with this combat difference, I see a lot of players having a hard time transitioning when they come from WoW to ESO because they might not understand the differences here with combat. I've got a lot of guides in the channel, y'all, that show you how to light attack weave or how to animation cancel, and how to help you get better at that. So that's something that I've noticed with WoW players is they really do struggle with this transition. So make sure to check out those guides if you need help with that. And I'm going to be making more guides involved with this so I can try to help you all out. But the other thing that I've noticed in WoW with combat that's different is the range is way bigger than ESO, which I think is a plus in WoW because I like how you can attack stuff that's really far away. In ESO, you can't really do that in a way. Like, you can still attack things that are farther away, but it might just be the way that the depth of field is and like kind of how it's scaled. I don't know, but it feels like in WoW you have a bigger range, and I want to mention that. So this leads me to number 4. Tanking is pretty different in ESO. Tanking in WoW, in my opinion, is a little bit more traditional when it comes to tanking, which makes sense, again, because WoW is an older game. In WoW, you have a threat system. As long as your tank can uphold that threat system, they can keep enemies aggroed on them for a long time. ESO doesn't have a threat system. It has a couple of hard taunts that will cause enemies to attack you, and ESO has sort of a soft taunt system. How this works is enemies will usually aggro someone who does either a lot of healing, like you're out healing the damage that they're doing, and they must be doing a lot of damage to the group for that to happen, or someone who's doing a lot of damage, or first contact is kind of the way I like to put it. So like if a tank runs in first and lays down a CC or something like that, a lot of mobs will usually follow the tank and be soft taunted for a brief period of time. But where tanking gets very intricate in ESO is tank's role is to debuff enemies, buff teammates, and control the fight, and obviously taunt the major players in the fight. Now, the controlling aspect is similar to WoW, and WoW has buffs and debuffs, right? But in ESO, since you don't have a threat system to worry about, when you start incorporating mechanics and adds and more than one boss, you add a complexity that looks a little different than WoW. Because a lot of times, tanks need to group up enemies and hold their aggro if they can, and if a tank loses taunt on a boss, usually the team will struggle a lot. Now, regarding the threat system in WoW, there are several abilities that augment or increase this, as well as effects. Damage is the most basic form of threat generation for the most part in WoW. And now, you know, when you play classes in WoW that is designed for tanking, there are going to be additional threat bonuses when you respect into that tank role. There are also threat modifiers and stuff like that. The point of me saying all of this, like there is tons of information on this in general, but the point of me saying all this is that WoW literally has a whole mechanic around threat level. This is why tanking is fundamentally different in ESO, because we don't have a threat mechanic in the game. There aren't items that specifically increase your threat, generation or anything like that. You have your hard taunts, and then you have soft taunts that, like, again, that act as like CC or something like that. You don't have threat generation. I actually wonder if anyone has any data on soft taunts and such for this game, like if there's like a hidden modifier at all. I'm not really sure, but that's besides the point. Since ESO doesn't have a threat system, this is something that you need to understand and learn when coming over to ESO to tank. I have a beginner tank guide in the description that can help you out with tanking in general, but as a tank in ESO, you really need to understand that resource sustain is important, buffs that you give your teammates are important, debuffs you put on the boss are important, and grouping is important in positioning. But they act differently in this game since you can't hold threat necessarily, except for individual bosses that you taunt or things like that. And another thing is, you aren't going to taunt every single enemy on you, especially ad fights. CC is one of your best friends. I had a friend who came over from WoW from tanking, and he was trying to taunt every single ad with Pierce armor. And that's not necessarily, I guess, a bad thing. It's just you end up doing that, but instead you need to lay down CCs and stuff like that. That's actually going to help your teammates out a lot better, because they'll be able to DPS them down quicker instead of you just taunting every single thing. Now, bigger enemies or fights or bosses, again, you might have to have multiple taunts up, but that's just something that's different about ESO when it comes to tanking. Number 3 is leveling alts. WoW recently changed their leveling model to be a little less grindy, in my opinion, and when I leveled through it, it felt a little more smooth. and like I said, less grindy. So that is a plus with WoW's system now. However, the leveling is definitely a different experience than ESO's, especially when you play with other friends or players, and when you want to make new characters as well. WoW has a system called Party Sync that allows you to sync up with other party members' quest lines, so both players can play through the quest together, which I find and found to be a neat thing in case one person in the party has already done that quest at maybe a higher level, and they can do it again with their friend that is maybe newer, and they can kind of show their friend where to go if they are a little confused. I think that's pretty cool. However, the zones in WoW still have a level range. So if you are a higher level and you go to a really early zone in the game, your experience definitely will drop. ESO, however, is fully scaled when questing, leveling, and playing with friends. No matter your friend's level, you will be able to play the same content as them, except certain in-game activities like DLC dungeons and trials. But if you want to invite a friend to your party, they can quest, do overland content, level with you, and enemies will be scaled to them and you differently. And if you do quests, those quest experience will be scaled accordingly to them and you as well. This is something that is one of my favorite features of ESO. This allows all quest content to always be relevant. So if you want to do these base game quest lines when you're CP 500, they will still be scaled to you, to your level, and your experience will be too. It allows you to play the game how you want. Also, leveling in ESO is something that is very broad. Usually people in ESO level by other means to get to level 50, which is the first level cap. I know WoW has other ways to get to their level cap as well besides questing, but I just know that a lot of people do questing to level. Questing is a very chill way to level in ESO, but if you want a power level, there are a lot of other methods. This leads me to the next part of this, leveling alternate characters. Leveling alternates in World of Warcraft seems a little daunting, and you could say the same thing about ESO depending on who you ask. But in my opinion, I think as a whole, ESO has a more forgiving and less grindy alternate leveling system. WoW's level smush, as I like to call it, definitely helped with that grindiness, but in ESO, when you hit level 50, you get to go into the champion points. CP is what it's called, and it has 3 trees now. And I have an updated CP guide in the description if you want to learn more about this, but essentially, it is a Paragon system, sort of like in Diablo. If you've played this, every level past 50, you will earn a blue, then a red, and then a green level, and then it rotates like that. The max CP is 3,600 now, so you will end up earning 1,200 blue, green, and red levels. With those levels, you slot in passives and bonuses that help build your character for the end game. The amazing part about this system is that it is shared with every single character you ever make. So if you make a character and you get them to 50 and then hit CP 500, the next character and the next character that hits 50 will be immediately shot up to CP 500. You don't have to grind CP over and over again. It just keeps going. This is a huge quality of life perk and allows making alternate characters not a drag. And the next thing I'm going to share is going to play off of all of this. And that is number 2, the item level progression or in-game structure is very different in ESO than it is in WoW. In WoW, you have an item level, just like in Division 2 and in Destiny 2. Your power or your strength relies on the item or power level that you have. The way that you increase that item or power level is you grind activities that drop slightly higher gear and increase your overall item level over time. The biggest con of this system is a lot of times this makes old content useless and not live content anymore, with the exception of achievements and transmogs. Like in WoW, I love how you can breeze through old mythic raids and dungeons and get cool transmogs and appearances and mounts and stuff like that. I love that aspect. But as far as gear and items are concerned, it basically kills the drive to do the content anymore because you are so over leveled for it. So in ESO, the max item level or item cap is actually CP 160. So you'll see on the items, it says CP 160. What this means is every activity you do will drop armor at CP 160 once you hit CP 160. And ESO's item sets are based off of 5-piece and 2-piece bonuses and like some mythic items and stuff like that now. These bonuses usually have a really cool effect or give extra bonuses for using the full item set. So you'll see here for False Gods that your 2 items give you 26 spell critical. Your 3 gives you Minor Slayer, which increases your damage done to dungeon, trial, and arena monsters by 5%. Your 4 item piece gives 626 spell critical. And then your 5 items reduces the cost of your magic abilities by 8%. When an enemy you recently damaged dies, you restore 2,340 magicka and gain major expedition for 8 seconds, increasing your movement speed by 30%. This effect can occur once every second. And then you've got what's it called? You've got a Burning Spellweave right here that has a completely different item set effect when you hit the 5-piece bonus and the 2, 3, and 4 pieces as well. This adds a complexity to ESO. What this allows is it allows content to never be irrelevant. One of the best Magicka DPS sets is from the base game, Mother Sorrow. It's from Deshawn. Another Magicka DPS set that's amazing is from a base game dungeon, Medusa, which is an Arx Corneum. This allows builds to basically use whatever they want. If you want to build a tank and have a set from 5 years ago in a trial, which is a raid, and use the most recent set from the most recent DLC patch, then you can. It's not going to be irrelevant because the item level is the same. Now, there are sets that are obviously better and perform better than others, but that's just normal. I just like the freedom that you have when choosing builds like that, and this honestly is one of the biggest reasons I like playing ESO. Now, number one is the cosmetic system is different in ESO. So in WoW and ESO, you have transmogs, motifs, or appearances. So let's start off in WoW. For transmogs, you have transmogs for cloth, mail, and leather. However, if your class doesn't wear or can't wear cloth, mail, or leather, you can't transmog a cloth piece onto a mail wearing character. You have to make a character that has leather to be able to transmog a leather, transmog onto that character that actually wears leather. Now, in ESO, this setup is completely different. ESO has light, medium, and heavy armor. So you'll see here in the armor styles, if you go to the chest, you have light, you have medium, and you have heavy. ESO's armor transmogs are called motif pages, okay? Motif pages are earned by doing dailies, dungeons, trials, or by buying them on Guild Trader. So if I go to my bank here and I go to my consumables, and you'll see right here, these are motif pages. Look, crafting motif, Ebon Shadow shields, raw Gata legs, skin changer legs. So for example, if you want the Sapiarch leg motif, which is this right here, then you can buy this from Guild Traders or you can do daily quests in Somerset. Now, if you get this motif page, you can consume this on any character. However, when you consume this motif, it will only give you the leg style of Sapiarch, okay? You will not necessarily have the chest piece. See, I don't have the chest piece for Sapiarch, but I have the legs. So what that means is you still have to get the chest, the gloves, the boots, the belt, the head, the shoulder, and all the weapons. But the cool thing about this is it gives you all the leg motif styles. So you get the light style, you get the medium style, and the heavy style from just that page. Another awesome thing is you can go to any dye station or costume station and transmog or change your style to those legs on any character. So it doesn't matter the race or the class that you're playing. Once you know the style page on your account, you can apply that on any character. And for body pieces, you can be wearing 7 light armor and apply all heavy armor motif pages. But the one thing I will say is that when you consume pages, motif pages, this allows you to craft that style as well on the crafting table. But you can only do this on the character that you consumed it on. And if you want achievements, I recommend consuming motifs on one character so you can consolidate and get the achievements on that one character. Because if you consume the Sapiarch style on this character, I can only craft the Sapiarch style if I want to craft it on this character, but that's only for writs for the most part. Otherwise, you would just use the appearance or the dye station to put this style on your character. Also in ESO, you have dyes. Okay, so this is the dye station. Like I said, these are earned through achievements. Okay. You have all of these dyes. There's tons that you can earn. So if you go to rarity, you can see all the different dyes that you can earn. These are earned by doing dungeons, trials, all kinds of stuff, okay? Just by getting achievements. Some of these look really amazing. Like you see this really shiny red dye. This is from the newest dungeon DLC pack that we just got, and it looks awesome. Now, for WoW, when it comes to mounts, WoW blows ESO out of the water because WoW has basically all earnable mounts in the games from doing activities. When it comes to ESO, mounts are not earned really for the most part. You have a few earnable mounts, but a lot of them are earned through the crown store. You have to buy them. You have to do it, get them from expansions when you buy expansions. So that is one of the downsides to ESO's mount system. Where ESO kind of makes up for this is you can earn skins and you can earn personalities and polymorphs that you earn by doing really hard achievements or content in the game for dungeons and trials, and for the most part. So you can earn some of these cool skins and everything like that. Now, the last bonus tip is #ESOFam. And if you are part of this community or the ESO community as a whole, you will understand that ESO's community is top notch. I'm not saying that it doesn't have its trolls or toxic people. Every MMO and gaming community does. But this community is one of the most welcoming communities in the MMO world, in my opinion. I've had so many players that come from WoW in my community just blown away by someone not getting tilted or raging or mad when they needed to take their dog out in the middle of a dungeon and everyone being cool with it and just chilling. Like, I've seen people in WoW just get so mad at stuff like that. It's kind of insane. So, like I said, again, I know you will get some bad experiences in pugs or in general, but overall, ESO has a pretty amazing community and they are very supportive and extremely helpful and patient. But that's going to wrap it up, y'all. Again, if you did like this, make sure to like, subscribe, heavy attack that bell icon to stay up to date on all the content in the channel. If you'd like me to do more guides like this to try to help you transition from other MMOs to ESO and tell you how it's different in a way or just help you out in general, let me know down in the comments below. I'd like to see what you guys think about this, and let me know if this helped you out if you're coming over from WoW. I really hope it did. I'm trying to help clarify some things for you all so you have a little bit of a smoother transition. But remember, you can always come by my Twitch stream, twitch.tv/brahwegotthis, Monday, Thursday, Saturday. You can also come by the Discord. The link's there in the description. You can follow me on Twitter at brahwegotthis, and the website is brahwegotthis.com. We are excited to be updating the website here very soon, so I'm excited to share that with you all, so stay tuned. But until next time, y'all, just have faith, be great, and I'll see you on ESO.